Hey guys, Sup Tutorials here, and it's William from Sup Tutorials, really. So, today I'm bringing you our first video, or my first video, and it's HTML coding, how to make your own HTML website. So let's get started. So the first thing you want to do is have Dreamweaver installed on your computer. You can have a trial or the full version, it's up to you, and you want to make a folder. So I've got my Sup Tutorials folder, I've got my tutorials thing here. Then I've got my HTML for my HTML tutorials. And then what you want to... That's just retarded. Then what you want to do is you want to make a new folder. And then you want to call it My Website. Like so. Then you want to put in here, you want to put in two folders. CSS, lowercase preferably, doesn't really matter though, I just use lowercase and it just makes it look a little bit neat, even though it doesn't look neat in this folder itself. And then one called images, any case. After you've done that, you want to go into here and it should be empty. If it's not, there's something wrong with your computer. You want to go back into Dreamweaver. Instead of opening a HTML, you want to open a CSS file. But before we do that, I'll just show you a quick rundown on what we're going to be making, or something like that. I've deleted, nope, okay, so we're just going to click open, oops, I'm going to click open, I'm going to open website, yep, this is it. This is what we're going to be doing, something like this. So this is our page with our video here. You can't see the video, but now you can. We'll just wait for it to load. So this is going to be our YouTube videos here, and then we're going to have a drop down thing. So a spray collapsible panel, that's what it's called, where it drops down when you click and when you don't click. And if you want to see that, what it looks like in the internet, you just click F12 and it opens up in HTML form. That is not a website, it is just HTML form. And then this is what it looks like in a website. There'd be advertisements there, and then you just click and it shows download on channel and so on. So we're going to be making something like that. So let's get started. The first thing you want to do is you want to make a CSS file, like I said, and you want to save it straight away. You don't want to do anything in this. So now, you might be thinking, why are we making a CSS folder? There's nothing to do with CSS in HTML coding. Well, unless you really know your HTML code, and you're saying there is nothing to do with it, well, then you don't know your HTML code, or you just don't know it altogether. You just never knew it in the first place, and you're just wondering why. A CSS state is kind of like the styling sheet. It's how you choose. You choose what you want. So when you save it, you want to save it into your CSS folder. Mine was in My Documents, Sup Tutorials, My Website, CSS, and you want to call it Style, because it's a style sheet. And what decides how big one of our divs are going to be. And I'll explain divs in a sec. So you want to save, then you want to go File, New. You have to go File, New to do this. You can't just reopen Dreamweaver and just choose HTML. And after you do that, what you want to do is you want to go File, New, sorry about that, and then we're going to go down to here where it says Attach CSS File. You want to click the Attach button, you want to click Browse. And when you click that, click Yes, click Cancel, click OK. It attaches it, click Create. Now we're going to attach CSS style folder. Great, that's what we want. Then what we really want to do is change the title of our document. The little, if you click F12, guys, you can actually view it if you're wondering. Well, first we should save it. Yep, that's a good idea. We want to save this called index, like so. And now if you view it in your website, it shows nothing, but up here it says untitled document. We don't want untitled document, we want our name. So I'm going to change it where it says title to Sup Tutorial. Oh, sorry, the other way around. Tutorials. Like so. After you do that, you want to come into your body here, you want to space it out a little bit. And then you want to go to about the middle. So you want to do about an odd number, so you got a middle. And you want to type in div. Now I'll show you what a div is. So we're going to make our header div first. We're going to type in div, then we're going to type in ID and click enter, and then it's going to pop up with an equal sign, then two speech marks, and it's going to have the counter in between the two speech marks. Then we're going to call this header, like so. and we're going to end it off with a closing angle bracket, opening, and then a slash. And that closes it off. This part just here closes off the div. Then what you want to do is you want to go into your styles CSS, and we want to edit this div. So if you actually want to see what a div looks like, it's that just there. It's the dot ed lines around everything. So to actually edit a div, we need to know what type of div it is. So if we jump here, we can close that now. If we jump here and we go into our source code and code, we see that it's an ID div. So when we go into our style CSS, to edit an ID div, we need to use a hash sign, and then we need to type in its name. So we named it header. But if this was a class, I'll just quickly show you a class. Class like so, and then named it header, we would use a period sign instead of using a, we'll type in header like that instead of using a hash, but we're using an ID. IDs are morely for big things. Our header is pretty big because it's what people are going to first see when they look at the website, so we want it that big like that. So you're going to do the hash, then you're going to type in header, and then you want to do two squiggly brackets. Not normal brackets, squiggly black brackets. You can't speak today. So if that's better to look, it's not. It's the brackets that have the little like hill in the middle of them. You want to go into the middle of them. You want to click enter, and it'll pop up with all these options. We're going to type in at this moment in time nothing, but we'll come to that later. What you want to do next is make your header. I'll just see how I'm going. I'm going good for time. So to make your header, you can make it on any editing program, but I'm going to use it on Adobe Photoshop because it's quite nice to make it. So now you can make it any header you want, any size you want. It doesn't really matter, but if you come into my website here and I edit this with just Notepad. Whoops. Yes. If I edit this with Notepad. This is stuff don't worry about that. I just edit it with Notepad++. If I come down here, as you can see, wrong one. I can just close this. If I go into my CSS and go into my style CSS, you can see my header is 110 pixels in height and 980 pixels in width. So we're going to make our header to that extent just because it's a nice little view that it's got going there when we do it. So we're going to go to Photoshop, I'm going to go to File, New, and we're going to have pixels here. Make sure you have pixels there, and then you're going to type in those coordinates. 980, 110. Then click Enter. And it pops you up with the header thing. Going to click here. We're going to get our paint bucket tool. We're going to choose what color we want our background. I'm going to have it a goldy color. I'm going to click like so, and then I'm going to get my gradient tool out. Don't copy me for this header. Make it for your own YouTube account or whatever. And just use it like that. So this is going to be my background. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my text down here. I'm going to click on delete. It's Control Z, Enter. Enter. Z. Just delete that. That's all marked up. Text. And now we want to type in our name, so it's going to be sup tutorials. Now I don't want it to be white. I want it to be something that stands out a bit more. I'm going to give it a dark purple color. Yeah. Sup tutorials, and then we're going to make a new text by clicking here, then clicking back here. Brings new tutorials to you. Like so. So this is just a basic header. I'm going to keep with this header because it's simple and I like it. So now what I'm going to do to fill in the space is go to the shapes. Now I'm going to choose the rounded tool, and then I'm going to have my purple on, and I'm going to make shapes around it to make it look all new and fancy and not just all blank and just writing in it. So I'm going to make it all as different shaped as possible. just to make it look nice. So guys, I'm going to leave it like that. So you can make it whatever you want. You don't need to use shapes or anything, but you can do that. So just check out we're going for time, 10 minutes, that's good. Then we want to go back to Dreamweaver, but before we do that, we want to save it. So we're going to File, Save, but we're not going to save it as a PSD. We're going to save it as a PNG. And then we're going to save it, and we're going to save it to our desktop, down to subtutorials, my website, and we're going to save it into images, and we're going to call this header. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it weird header, cool header, whatever you want, or gay header. Doesn't really matter. So we're going to call it header, and I'm going to click save. Click OK, and we're going to exit this. Now when you exit, it's going to prompt you, don't click save, because you've already saved it. This is just asking you to save as a Photoshop document. We don't want to do that. So we're going to click no. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go into here, where it says the div in between the two closing angle bracket and opening angle bracket, and click up here. We're going to click on that. If it's closed, you might just do that. If it's not, you need to go to window and you need to click insert here to make sure that's up if you can't find this. And then instead of having to do the code, we're just going to use our cheat Dreamweaver, and we're going to click image here, and it should pop us up to do in a way where our image is. And then we're going to go to images, and we're going to click on this and click OK. You don't need to put in any of that. And as you see, that actually didn't put into the div, so I'm just going to cut that and then copy it in here. So now if I go into render design, I've got it there, but it's off-centered, and we're going to go into our oh, that's getting really annoying. When we go into our internet, it looks all crappy and everything, and nothing likes it. Sorry about the noises that you get from the computer. Camtasia can be pretty annoying sometimes. So we've got subtutorials. We've got a header in, but it looks pretty, like, I must say, not that great. So we're going to edit that. So we can edit in this last thing. We're going to edit it by going to star CSS, and now we're going to come to here. So now I'm going to click back and then click enter again, so we get all those options up. I'm going to type in height, enter, and then we're going to type in 110 px. Then I'm going to do our semicolon, enter. I'm going to type in width. Now doing this just is making our div as big as the actual header is itself. After we do that, we want to center it. To center it, you type in margin, and we're going to go left, and then you're going to go auto, semicolon, and margin, right, auto, semicolon, enter. And now if we go back to our design, bam, it's in the middle, and if we go yes, it looks pretty sexy in this, you must admit. So guys, that's our first episode from subtutorials on making your own HTML website. I might be putting out some Minecraft tutorials, some Minecraft Skyblock Survival. I must admit, that's just fun, and I do like Minecraft as a game itself. I'll put out all different other coding tutorials, some action scripts, so make sure you guys subscribe. And just checking time as well, and see you guys. Peace out.